Dubai is known for being a luxurious getaway for famous rich people and for its nightlife. It was literally designed to attract rich Western businessmen as a playground for them to throw their money around. And it definitely is all of those things. However, if you look hard enough, you can also find ways to entertain yourself that won't cost you an arm and a leg. Although these experiences are definitely few and far between. If you want to travel Dubai on a budget, my two recommendations are to eat lots of South Asian food, since it's the cheapest and more than 60% of the population of Dubai is South Asian. And also to visit Dubai's secret ghost town, which has now been abandoned for decades. We are now on the road to an abandoned city about 70 kilometers away from Dubai, and we try to get there for sunrise, but we've been running a little bit late. So sun is rising right now and we're still about 10 minutes away.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, we just arrived, so getting some backpacks. I'm here today with my friend Tuma.
Hello.
He is a videographer and he's super cool. And this is his friend Hala.
Hi.
They're both from Syria, but both living here in Dubai. So we're gonna have some fun exploring this place, show you around, and take some cool photos. Guys, look at this sunset, or sunrise. That is some beautiful stuff right there. Also, there's some like hot air balloons over there. Looks kind of like Cappadocia. And so apparently just recently they set up a big gate and some security here. But before that, just like a couple of years ago, it was like completely untouched. So it's probably a good thing to try to come now before they start making it a big tourist attraction, because right now they're thinking about commercializing it a little bit more. But right now we are entering the abandoned village. I'll tell you some of the history of it as we explore. Okay, we're entering the village now, and luckily it's actually still super untouched. We got some like broken walls over here, and it like looks like a normal little village, but there's just all these like buildings full of sand. Ooh, this one's cool. Let me go try to look in there. Oh. This is crazy. Look at this. You know, the weird thing with like abandoned places like this is always like, it's so strange to think about what people's lives were like here before it was abandoned, you know? Like all of these houses people lived in for about 20 years. It's crazy. It's so crazy because this is like an entire village. Like a lot of times you'll find abandoned places and it's just like a couple buildings, but like this has an entire village. It was actually built, I think, in the early 1970s. The UAE became an official country, like united all the different emirates in 1971. And so the government actually built this village in the early 1970s, right after the UAE was formed. And people lived here until about the early 1990s. And nobody really knows why the people left here. But the local folklore is that jinn haunted people and scared them away. Jinn are basically a third kind of being in Islam besides humans and angels that can be good or evil and will be judged at the end of the world like humans will. And it's also where the word genie comes from.
10,000 years!
But another theory is that they just were kind of in the middle of the desert, and at a time when the UAE was growing really quickly, they didn't have access to a lot of electricity and water, and they had lots of sandstorms. And so it was just a lot of effort to maintain them. And most of the people moved to Dubai or other places in the UAE to search for other work opportunities. Courtyard, another house. All of these houses just look so incredible with all the sand. It's just like, it's something out of a movie, really. It's also super funny because of all the sand in the houses. It's like all the doors and windows are a lot shorter than they normally would have been. So it also feels a little bit like it's like a city for like small people. Like, look at this.
Mr. Jordan, what do you think of the place?
It's very beautiful. I love places like this, especially in Dubai. It's kind of hard to find places that are like really cool to explore and free. And so this is definitely one of my favorite places I've been in Dubai so far. What do you think, Hala?
I think it's amazing.
It's amazing?
Yes, I am thinking why there is space.
This big
between the
space.
domes.
Yeah,
I don't know. Physically, I don't know. That's why what I'm thinking about.
that is interesting.
Not
If you took all the sand out, people could live here.
But somehow they chose not to. And
Yeah.
that's what's really interesting for me. I mean, like they built these good houses in, I suppose, like a somewhat good area, but for some reason people chose not to stay in them, which is a bit odd.
You know, it's also interesting because one of the theories I told you is that jinn kind of haunted people.
Oh my God.
That's just a theory.
It's the
I mean,
folklore. That's
It
what
is a
the
folklore,
people
yeah,
say.
yeah.
But it's interesting because in Arabic, the word for crazy is majnoon, which literally means like
haunted by a jinn.
haunted by jinn or like possessed. So when somebody goes crazy, it's because they were like scared away. They went insane. The other interesting thing is that the people in the nearby city is actually called El Madam, and the people there come here and actually take care of the mosque here. So they built this whole village. All the other buildings they left alone, so they're filled with like sand and stuff. But the mosque at the end of this main road right here, they come and they sweep every day. So it's probably usable. I don't think they would sweep it if they couldn't use it, right?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Yalla nusalli.
Suddenly,
Bismillah.
you know, I'm not gonna put that one in.
So sun's starting to get pretty high. Just been exploring a little bit of these houses. They're super cool. There's so many different places to go. And so even if you have like one that has more sand than the other, that sometimes the other ones look really interesting too. Or sometimes the light is good in one and then an hour later the light's better in a different one. So it's a really cool place to explore. There's starting to be people here now. It's about 9 o'clock. So I think people started coming around 8:30-ish. If you come early, you can have a bunch of it to yourself. Super interesting. They have this like huge middle part in here between all the buildings. I think maybe it used to be like a big street, or maybe this used to be like where they kept camels. I don't know. 1971 and 1990s, just like a trading post. I don't really know for sure. Or maybe they just like had a big meeting area in the middle. They even have this little tent here. I don't really know how old this is because it's made out of concrete, but it looks like a tent. Little places to sit. Traditional Bedouin tent made out of concrete. Actually, it looks like we might not be able to go in the mosque. There's like barbed wire all the way around it. ممنوع دخول إلى المسجد. مفتوح?
Yeah.
Oh, the gate is open. Look at all this barbed wire. There's even one right in front of my face. But the gate is open, so Bazun, it's okay. Allahu Akbar.
No, not this one.
Jama'at al-Muslimin.
Also not this one.
Looks like all the windows are boarded shut, so I don't think they use it anymore.
And I think the reason they've actually done this is because they don't want any more sand to go in the mosque.
That probably makes sense.
Like even that the whole village is pretty abandoned, they still take care of their holy place.
It's interesting, there's all this like glass and like ripped up carpet outside here on the side of the mosque. It's probably like their old prayer rugs maybe before when they actually used it. Super interesting. There's even some more buildings back here behind the mosque. Looks like it was probably a bathroom. Oh, this is probably the ablution room, like where you wash your hands and your feet and face and stuff before you go into the mosque. This was definitely the bathroom here. Look, it's like half still here. And we just found out Tuma doesn't actually know how to use his camera.
And I have no idea how to turn it off. Are you still recording for real?
There's goats! Goats! Guys, there's goats. There's so many of them. No! Come back! Ah. They're leaving me. Come back! Please! Come here! No! Okay, just made it to this top of the biggest hill here. Take one last look at the city before we have to go. It was a super interesting trip actually. This place is like definitely a must-do if you're in Dubai, and especially if you don't want to spend a ton of money. You can't film me while I'm filming you. What are you doing?
I can film you.
The heck?
The tour is done. Now we're heading back to Dubai.
Honestly, I never really wanted to come to the UAE. It's not really known for its incredible culture and history, and it is well known for its poor record of human rights and labor laws. And from my experience, I think that's all true. There are a ton of people who are treated very poorly and live in terrible conditions. However, since my friend Tuma invited me to come see it, we found ways to make the most of it. Although we mostly just hung out and took a lot of really cool photos, and I don't necessarily believe that jinns still haunt the area, I do think it reflects a pattern that we continually see in society of governments and big corporations being out of touch with regular people, whether that's desire paths, companies adding strange features that people don't want, or the UAE building a village in the desert that's not really viable. Connection and communication are so important, and I at least hope this video serves as a reminder to connect with people, and especially people that are different than you and have different experiences than you do, because that will make the world a better place.